Dr. John Hammer, and today we have a special guest. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Eddie Giles. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Thank you for having me on the program.
Good, yeah. Thanks for coming back. It's been a while since I've seen you. The last time I saw you, I think, was at the Santa Ana Noise Fest.
Yeah, it was great. It was good to see you.
Yeah, that was great. I wasn't even expecting to see you there or to see you performing at all, and there you were with a Final Solution record for me, and I appreciate that. And an awesome set with Whorehound. That was awesome stuff, man.
Well, thank you. That came about in a whirlwind. Nick in Whorehound, I kind of offered my services to him, and he took it immediately. So we rehearsed once in Long Beach for a few hours, and I felt that we had it. And then, I actually told Nick and a few other friends, including you and some others, to try to get onto the bill for the Santa Ana Noise Fest. Now the interesting thing is, and not to get too into the politics of it or whatever, but Mark Soden, he booked everyone except for me. He didn't book Walmart, and he booked everybody else.
Really? Well, were you planning on playing that show?
Oh yeah. I put in a bid very early, and then I got on the phone and I just told everybody, hey, there's a big show coming up at Santa Ana. If you want it, grab it. And he booked everyone, but he didn't book me.
Damn.
And it was just an odd thing, and I asked him why, and he said, oh well, he made up some weird excuse that he says, well, I want to see some fresh faces. And I'm like, you want to see some fresh faces? I go, oh, okay, cool. Then that's when, I told Nick, why don't you get on this gig? And then, I offered my service to Nick. So the next thing I know, here's another thing, I don't want to get too into it. I like Mark. I have a decent friendship with him. But the thing is, I told him, look, I put off going on a vacation. I plan to do this in Santa Ana, and he basically told me, "Oh, just go on your vacation." And it was kind of a wow, blew me right off. Go to your vacation. Yeah. I really didn't appreciate that. So when I rolled through the door with Whorehound, I love to see the expression on his face. He didn't expect me to start plugging in because. Here I am. It's yeah, we're here now. So what's up? He didn't say anything to me, but I could see that
that's funny.
The look on his face was, and I'm like, yeah, but it's no big deal. I think that we are in a better place. I don't know what happened, and why he didn't even tell me, anything. I just assumed I was on the bill. And the next thing I know, I checked the roster, and the name wasn't there. And I just said, "Hey, is it happening? Am I on it? What's going on?" I said, "Oh yeah, well, we want some fresh faces." So, okay, long story short, that was what happened. And then,
yeah, that's interesting. And thanks. I mean, I'm glad we all had a chance to go because that's a kind of interesting backstory. You're able to make it happen anyways and play it set with a new project and. Yeah, I'm interested to see this year's edition of that. Hopefully, I'd like to get on there again, but maybe do something as Dr. Hammer. Cause I'm doing. How about we maybe talk about the festival coming up October 10th or October 4th, 3rd and 4th. Is that right? In J Cafe, Birdeater Entertainment Noise Summit 2025.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for getting me on that one. I was trying to, and I didn't know he was advertising that so early. But man, there's going to be so many acts. He just had a pretty good interview with Bloody F Mess, and yeah, it was. Did you actually tune into that? It was on the radio. He had posted on Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty cool, man. He posted the recording. I missed that, but I tuned in right when they were ending. But luckily, he posted the recording of it.
I haven't listened to it.
But it was pretty good, though. Yeah, he's just, I think Birdeater just put out a Bloody Mess tape or reissue, and so I think that's kind of how they met. But it was just a little interview it was on the radio, broadcasted like Oregon, I think NorCal, maybe Washington. I'm not sure, but it's pretty cool, man. And hopefully see more of that stuff happening. But he advertised the festival there, and man, that's gonna be a barn burner.
Yeah. So so, let me see. So I just want to say this is going to be a good show. I'm looking forward to it, and I'd like to say that I actually have a special guest with me, if you don't mind.
Yeah, let's go for
it. There's someone here.
This is great.
As a guest. So, hi, John. There he is. Can you guess his voice? Hi, John.
Let's see. Who can you? Hey, how's it going? Can you? What you up to today?
Oh, just sleeping in a van next to the handbag factory in LA, hanging out for a festival.
Man, I don't know. Sounds familiar.
I'm not gonna take it there. We've done an interview prior. I'll say that.
Logo? Oh, damn, dude, that's crazy, dude. Van, I should have guessed Logan, dude. Oh my God, I'm sorry, guys. I totally dropped the ball on that.
Oh, it's all good.
Dude, Logan, how's it going, man? I saw you had a little bit of van issues, but it's good to hear you're still touring around, man. You're playing a show tonight?
Not tonight. I played one on Thursday, and that went pretty well. But
all right, man, that's great.
How have you been?
Oh, doing pretty good, man. Still up in Washington. I haven't really been active, anything live, just kind of doing a lot of recording. I got a full-length Dr. Hammer album coming up, a Heretic album, Split with Cut coming out. And
I saw that. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, and those will all be available at that Noise Festival October 3rd and 4th, I believe. That is at the Che Cafe in San Diego. So, I'm trying to promote that way in advance. And I think also Logan Threedouble will be performing, if I'm not mistaken.
I will be there.
Oh, that's awesome, man. So I'm glad, we got Eddie. You got LTD. This is great, man. We're promoting these things well in advance, and and also maybe we could talk about this other new album, Comprachicos. Anyone want to say anything? Have a listen to that? Any reviews or any takes on that album?
I have heard it. It's very good. Eddie walked away for a moment, but it is very good. I've listened to it. I also listened to the new Dr. Hammer single you just dropped.
Yeah. Those are all just kind of like preview tracks. I'm going to post it when the full length is all done. I'm going to post it up on the Bandcamp, and then I'm going to get tapes made and everything. It'll just all be kind of cassette. But Eddie is kind of behind the mastermind behind the Comprachicos, and man, the whole concept to me is awesome, because I think it's kind of like kind of a lens to kind of see how like people like that think, like these Comprachicos, these aristocratical people that kind of view just kind of disfigurement and tormenting people is art or entertainment, or the way they view I guess the lower classes and people like that, like and it can help you see like that all that shit in the book The Man Who Laughs, all that still exists,
Yeah, absolutely.
And
I mean, there's a lot of like a lot of things. It's like not only it's like so beauty is one of these things where whatever people consider beautiful. And so another thing is like one of the themes of this project is that, you know, it's a two-way street. Like a lot of people do whatever they can to fit more into societal modes. You know, whether they're taking these weight reduction drugs that are actually used for diabetes, or how you know, the beauty myth. Basically a married couple, you see, as far as I'm concerned. So another thing too is, like, you know, all the different things that are going on in the world, you know, like it's almost like we're kind of being sort of psychically disfigured by things. Like there's like psychic surgeons, and they're kind of like they're doing a really bad job, you know.
Yeah. And how do you think they're doing that? These psychic kind of surgeon things.
Well, I mean, we're basically bombarded by, you know, social media and, you know, commercials, television, and a lot of other things that we have no real defense over. And a lot of it is almost like propaganda, but a lot of it, I think, like, it's basically like a media trauma that's going on as well. And then the whole idea of, like, disfiguring, you know, the idea of, like, the Comprachicos, of the myth legend that, you know, of what they are, and that they actually existed, is that they basically, you know, the name itself, Comprachicos, is if I understand correctly, it basically is roughly translated into the child buyers.
Yeah.
So basically, this is like this whole underworld, and it goes a lot right along with, you know, human trafficking and what we're seeing at the border. There, people are just basically, a lot of them are just lost in the, you know, they're just lost in the system, or they literally are disappeared. That a lot of people just completely disappear. So this is a complete disfigurement of any sort of societal movement or population. So the psychic surgery that's going on is that we're basically compelled to be transformed by propaganda and by mutilating truth and fact. And if you mutilate it to such a point, you can't even recognize it. So if you mutilate something to a point where you can't even read it anymore, then that's a perfect way. It's a metaphor for what I feel is what's going on in the media and in American politics. You know, I think there's a complete mutilation and disfigurement about what they, not me, but what they consider constitutional, you know, and that's being completely reworked. It's like they're rearranging the Statue of Liberty's face as we speak. You know, it's going to be just a really rough, you know, plastic surgery. You know,
it's like that Caretaker album for America.
What is it?
That Caretaker album about dementia, but for America.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that's a lot of like what Comprachicos is trying to look into, and then, like, of course, just the legend of them is just sick enough, you know.
Yeah, but all that stuff is still ongoing, and you can see that in a lot of the Pizzagate stuff that came out, and a lot of it is very disturbing, and the art is very twisted, and it involves disfigurement, and I forget if I'm not mistaken, is John Podesta. His art collection was one of those basically Jeffrey Dahmer kind of positions where he would kill people, but they made it into a statue. That was in this guy's living room, so it kind of goes to show you how these guys operate, and you know, the level of dehumanization. They just you know, they think they're above the world, so it's easy for them to do these things. And but that's why I like this project, and it sheds light on that, and you don't see that in many other projects.
Yeah, and I'm more than happy to write any sort of liner notes that with cited references, so that if people are interested in where Comprachicos comes from, where it was cited, I know Victor Hugo actually used the term in one of his short stories. It comes up a few times in history, but it's relatively unknown. It's not something that's been explored to its fullest. There's never been a
A lot of times in the early ages, all experimenting on whatever cadavers they could find, cutting them open, and you know what I mean? It's kind of always kind of been a fascination of the human mind.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing if like you have like these sort of, I don't know, like underground or out of work, or you know, maybe you know, like if like, okay, so Comprachicos actually existed, and like you have to think that they have some sort of like medical, you would hope, some sort of medical background.
Right. I was thinking, you know, most of them are probably like doctors and such, like very wealthy, aristocratical doctors.
They would have to be, or you know, basically it's just like some sort of real sick butchering of people.
Right. Or, yeah, someone owns a hospital or a mental institution or something. Like those were big. Like mental institutions were huge back in the day, and they you know, at one point they just kind of let everyone out on the streets. But yeah, it just kind of and it shows you, I don't know, it just that's why I love that in the first track. I think that is a sample taken from the podcast, or actually show on YouTube, Mind Unveiled, if I'm not mistaken. It's kind of introduced, and that is. Was that your introduction to Comprachicos, or have you heard of them before that? Did you read The Man Who Laughs before that or anything?
Yeah, I mean, like I was kind of familiar with the Victor Hugo reference from years and years ago, you know, reading literature, and then I just completely forgot about it. It never really showed up ever again, and I didn't really, you know, and sometimes when I'm reading books, this is where I get some of my ideas or whatever. I'll circle or underline, highlight a phrase. You know, this is exactly where to go back to Found Solution. The name Found Solution came out of, I was reading a book about the Third Reich, and I was just like, you know, I would read this thing on the subway, and it had a big black swastika on it, and I wasn't trying to be edgy or nothing. It was basically a history book. And they started talking about the plan to rid Europe of Germany, and then, of course, Europe of the subhumans, as they would call them.
Yeah.
And it was coined, the term was coined the final solution of, you know, the Jews, basically. So I just saw the Found Solution as a very strong term to use for.
It's a very strong. I was curious how many people have taken that the wrong way. Like they would think you're literally like some white power guy. Have you ever encountered that? Because it's such a bold statement. It's so deeply tied to the Third Reich and World War II. Did you ever have any just negative attachment or anyone approach you very maybe aggressively because of it?
No. I think that a lot of people, I think everyone took it the wrong way, first of all. And
Yeah, I can see that.
But I really wanted that. Perhaps. Yeah. But I think I really wanted that. Yeah.
That is great, though. But that just goes to show you, like, 99% of people just don't get it, you know? Like, no matter what you do, they take it the wrong way, and they just can't see, you know, the underlying meaning or expression.
Well, then basically the tongue-in-cheek sort of humor that came with it, because the biggest inside joke that Greg and Chris had with us is that everyone thinks that we're something that we're not. And people do that already. People already think they have your number. They think they know all about you. Then you don't have to call yourself anything. They say, oh, I know everything about this person, and they judge you without even knowing you. So I figured if you take that sort of train of thought and say, well, let's give them something to really have.
Yeah, really scratch your head about.
Yeah. So like, let's go all out. And I was really kind of influenced by, like I said, I keep constantly, like the villains in the world. And also.
Yeah, me too.
Like bad wrestlers. Like.
The heel, right?
Yeah, the heels are always the most interesting.
Yeah, they sure are.
Yeah, my favorite wrestler was a guy named Ox Baker. Okay, I don't know if you ever seen Ox Baker.
Was that WWF?
I believe so. He wrestled in Florida, and he wrestled in Texas for a while. And he's about 6'7", 6'8", bald head. He's got this giant sort of like handlebar mustache. Well, they're kind of like goes down. He's huge, you know, and his famous thing was the heart punch. So he would just like take the opponent, throw him to the ropes, and when they came back, he would just punch them directly in the chest, and they would kind of like freeze up and die. Well, he was also well known for, like, the first thing he would do when he got in his ring is he would take the referee and he would smash him and throw him right out of the ring. So like the referee's out. So like at that point, he would just like completely batter his opponent, and that's what I loved about him. And he was just like, his interviews were hysterical. He would say, "Don't take your grandmother to this thing. I don't care about your grandmother." It was hysterical.
Oh my God! You know what? You got to use that as a sample on something. You got to
find it. I'll find it.
You got to find that, like.
Yeah.
You know, because it's funny, when I, first kind of got involved in this, it's like I was trying to visualize a voice for myself, for Mindcrawler. This sounds ridiculous or not, but for a while, it started becoming in my own mind like my own twisted professional wrestler almost personification.
That's right. That's right. I'm a really big fan of Roddy Piper too.
But me too. They Live, man, is one, and that Toad movie, I forget what it is called, but it's great, man.
He did another movie too?
Yeah, it was one before that, I think prior, that's real low budget. It's about him. He's got to like repopulate the world. It's being overtaken by these toads, and it's like some beautiful women and him, and it's like that's it.
Oh, I gotta watch this film. I've never seen it.
Oh man, it's great. It's real low budget though, but They Live, man. That movie is that really inspired me to want to do Cywar Ltd. And I know you said you want to get Comprachicos out to a real label, but I want to put some hard work and eventually establish Cywar as a real label. You know what I mean? I'll wait for you to get things rolling on your end. I mean, I'm in no. Yeah, and I've been, I'm out of a hotel right now, and but this is all this is what I'm passionate about, the noise and the art and everything, and that's what this is all about. And
right.
Meeting you, meeting Logan Threedouble and Seth and Noah, and it's like, you know, even though 99% of the world may suck, it's like I know the guys that don't, and we make badass shit, and that's what this is all about. You know what I mean? And man, it's like I'm really excited to just keep growing this. And you know, the Logan Threedouble episode, we had 200 views, and thank you out there if you're listening to this, because you know I couldn't imagine 200 people to be listening, but you know, this is great. I totally, and these new releases, hopefully it's something that it's just not listen once and that's over. I'm putting a lot into this, and this Dreams album actually, it's about real experiences and things. So I'm just trying to make this the highest level I can on a cassette. And you know, these experiences I've had, it's in this, and it's all about the Psy-War and everything that's going on. And even in our dreams, I know there's entities that, and that's what the movie Hellraiser 2 is about. And I took some Rick Simpson oil and I watched that, and that night I got stuck in this dream, and I was having like a showdown with these archons, but in the movie they're Cenobites. But the same thing, and I got in this perpetual loop where it was 640, and it was my own torment. But you know, I was able to get out of it, and but something about that substance I kept going back to, and I kept having these profound but really tormenting experiences. And I think it's all part of the plan, and it's all part of the spiritual growth and work to overcome all these things that confront us, confound us daily, even on the subconscious level.
Well, you know, it was really funny. We all had dinner here together, Stephanie, Logan, my wife, and we were talking a lot about these issues this evening. And I think Logan can really chime in on a lot of what we were talking about as far as the psychic. You know,
yeah, definitely being spiritually affected by things, and you know, just society in general.
Yeah, and that's what you know, latest Mindcrawler that's going to be released on tape soon. Psychic violence. That's what this is. That's what it's all about. Real stuff. This is not just something. Oh, that sounds cool. There's actually experiences and real substance that's involved in this, and yeah, and that's what the last episode I was talking to Logan you about, that a lot of these people, you know, my wife is involved in mental health. A lot of these people, I think, have like supernatural powers, but they're just they're not tuned into the right frequency, and then they put them in these mental institutions and put them on these drugs, and it just totally I think it just totally short circuits them, and it just, you know, it destroys any kind of power they do have.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's what we were talking about literally all afternoon and evening about this, and how this is the real abuse. This is the real thing that's holding people back, you know, and trying to get them more unified. And one of the things is, like, there are other things we can talk about as far as, like, one of it is, like, we have egos, and our egos, for good and bad, you know, on one end, it's really great to understand that you have a sort of self-understanding, or at least a self-awareness of this sort of function of the ego. And on top of the ego, or somewhere near it, I would say that you have with the ego is fear. Now, these are great motivators. Fear is a great motivator.
Yeah, and that's their number one tool of the New World Order to keep people in line is fear. That's how you keep 5 billion people at bay by mere hundreds of thousands.
Yeah,
fear.
Right, and going back to Comprachicos, if you keep mutilating the truth and the fact, you can't read it anymore. It's disfigured.
And yeah, wow, that's very profound.
And that's kind of what we were talking about anyway, as far as, like, certain things, like we were discussing the Hatman, funny enough, like where Serpentine and I both have recollection of that being based on an actual deity, that now when you look it up on the internet, you can't even find that at all. It comes up with, for one, the memes, and then two, it redirects you, like Eddie was saying, the Slender Men.
Yeah, and I know a guy that had the same experience, and his whole lineage, the same experience. And not only that, it's the same entity because there were specific characteristics about her that they identified, and they all like try to hide it until they have really bad experiences. Like I had one really bad the other night. Like I said, with Rick Simpson, maybe it might have the drugs involved. My throat started swelling really bad, and my legs were shaking violently, and I would sleep, and I would see this giant woman, all white, and I actually saw her before in an alley. It was almost like a etheric, interdimensional being, and I saw her, and she said, "John, come to me, be one with me," and I could feel my heart stopping, and I was trying to shock myself out of the dream, and it was almost impossible, and I finally did it, and I just jumped out of the bed, and I started getting my circulation going, but I could just feel like this entity trying to absorb me into her own being, like a succubus. And there's so many stories that are thousands of years old written about this, and I think these are real entities, and they actually could have a lot to do with what's going on in society behind the scenes. Like they're probably controlling a lot, and like just like in the movie Hellraiser 2 and a lot of other stories.
Yeah, it's interesting how we can all share experiences like that because...
yeah, it is. And it's also interesting because I have this Hermetic Tarot card, and I'm just drawing some cards right now. And one of them is 3 of Cups, and we have 3 cups here full of knowledge, and the wisdom is flowing. So it is a magical evening, and I'm glad I can be joined. And sorry to interject there. I just wanted to share that.
Oh, no, you're good. That was super interesting.
We were talking about the tower just literally
like an hour ago, yeah.
All right, I drew 4, so I got the Hangman, Fortitude, and the Hierophant. So I think those are all very fitting cards for this occasion. And that and that's one of my strategies to fight back is through magic. And man, the power and the serendipity have been experiencing lately is just phenomenal. It's like almost like a movie, like The Matrix when he goes by and all the screens and the things change. Like I'll walk by somebody and my life path number is 4, and of course whatever number they're saying is 4, and also 6 is a heavy number, and I'll see it everywhere. 6-4, 6-4. I'll be measuring something 64. And
yeah, I do the same thing with 9.
Yeah, and I just know that's just God, like, hey, you're on the right path, you're doing the right thing, hang in there, everything will work out, and you'll eventually succeed, and you'll find your peace eventually. But it's a hard battle, but I think it all boils down to discipline, having the discipline to get through these kind of hard times. And I know they're using fear and divide and conquer to separate the masses for us to really work together. But that's what we're here to do. We're here to work together, some grassroots stuff, and I'm looking to really expand. And some of the news that maybe I want to share is looking at renting a storefront instead of a traditional apartment, just thinking outside the box,
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Oh, for sure. I mean, if you can, also turn it into some sort of quasi-gallery space or whatever.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah, my girlfriend, she wants to sell some things. She makes some crafts and, magical books. I went to a magical occult bookstore, selling that kind of stuff. Jewelry, crystals, tapes, of course, synthesizers, you name it. You know what I mean? Tinctures, whatever. All the stuff that I think is great will be there. And I think, you know what I mean? That is the way to do it in this world. And that's why I'm really enjoying Washington. There's a lot of DIY, grassroots ethics here as far as locally grown produce and, locally sourced all goods. A lot of stores you can find.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a city kid in the suburbs right now. And the thing is that I really appreciate getting out to the country, whenever Darby and I can get to a more of a rural space, we feel a little bit more relieved. But we always like to be close, connected to a city where things happen.
I love the duality, and that's what life is, night and day dualism. And man, nothing like going out in the woods, but then also go out in the city. Like tomorrow, I'm gonna go check out the A Weiwei installation at the Seattle Art Museum. I don't know if you're familiar or have heard of him.
Sure, I know.
Okay, so I'm not familiar at all, and man, I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, in the city, you know, whatever you can think of, you know, you have. But Washington is cool because the nature is all integrated in the city, also Tacoma and Olympia. So I've seen pictures of Finland, and that seems very similar idea of just incorporating nature in the city. So you can just kind of go for a walk anywhere and feel like you're out in the woods.
Yeah. Speaking of Finland, basically the latest issue of Special Interest has come out, and John Grimaldi originally did the interview with me and Christian Olsen from
Oh, yes, Alphamania. Yeah, I'm a big fan.
Right, and really great to have all these people, and Henry Mallett, another great friend of mine. We all got together a few years ago when we did this interview, and it had to be edited a little bit for practical purposes, and also because when I did the interview, my co-member of my band, Chris Usinich, was still alive at that point, so any references to him in the present had to be kind of rewrote. Yeah, that was just kind of difficult to do, but we did it, and from what John tells me, because Mika sent him 5 copies of Special Interest, that the last 24, 25 pages of the magazine is basically the found solution. Well, basically my interview about the life and times of Found Solution, and
oh man,
things we're doing in the present, which I do mention Comprachicos and other things I'm working on now. So what it was like, what happened, and what it's like today.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Is that going to be widely available? See, that's what I was saying. If I have a storefront, man, that'd be so great if you actually go to a store and pick up a copy of Special Interest. Wouldn't that be excellent?
That would be great. Unfortunately, I was talking about Mika, and he said the USA really sucks. Nobody wants to distribute that magazine.
Yeah, because no one's hardcore enough. Like, you know what I mean? They got hardcore shit, and they don't give a fuck, and that's what it's all about, in my opinion.
This is me saying Hysteria Culture will put it out.
Yeah.
Who will?
I'd like to, what I'm going to do at some point is, I've got total rights to the interview, is I'm going to basically photocopy it somehow, and put it out as a separate text completely. Not to separate it from Special Interest, because it's a great magazine.
Yeah.
Perhaps the best noise fanzine right now on the planet.
Right. Yeah, and it's got a long-standing reputation and legacy.
Yeah, I was honored to do it.
Yeah.
Christian wanted to do it originally in his magazine called Shock Tilt, and that's what the intention was, to get it into Shock Tilt from Sweden, but he folded the magazine, so we had this outstanding interview, and we didn't know what to do with it, so he parlayed it into an idea and sent it over to Mika, and he picked it up. He picked up the idea, and he said, yeah, sure, will. So with a little bit of editing and reworking, we sent it to Mika, and he put it in the last issue, the latest issue of it. And, when I get a copy, I've got 5, maybe, it's very so difficult to give it to people because everybody wants one. So
yeah.
What I'm thinking about doing is I'll have 5 copies. I'll probably give it to, make sure Henry gets one. John has his own, and, maybe a few people who really want it.
I'm going to auction the rest off.
Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this whole section of the Found Solution interview and maybe photocopy it and make it its own separate thing, so that it can be.
Yeah, that would be awesome to do, on a record or something. And
yeah.
You know what? If no one does that, I'll eventually. Man, that would be great to just do that on a LP run, and just like a deluxe book.
Yeah, I just want people to read the story, and I want people to understand it. I mean, they can always go to the White Centipede Noise interview I did with Oscar and watch that.
Yeah, those are great, and you know what I mean. I'm a Patreon of his, and man, I really like those interviews he had with Oscar, and man, and also you know, he's got his own little storefront up now, so man, he's just inspiration, and there's no reason we can't all be doing DIY stuff that way on that level, you know.
Yeah, I'm hoping that maybe if Side Wars really picks up and you really develop it into a full label, you know, you can get some prolapse Catholic out there too, you know.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I was wondering, since you guys are both on the phone, like, you know, I'm also looking at getting I need to get rid of the car I have. I'm getting a van soon, and if there's any way, maybe do you know, a LTD Walmart Cywar tour or Dr. Hammer tour, like just a little West Coast one or something sometime, maybe this year or next, you know.
I'm definitely trying to tour, so whenever.
That'd be great, because we got a good midpoint, Mr. Bobby Allman, you know, in the Bay Area, and you know, I could get a gig at. There's a lot of spots in Eureka, and they'll do anything if you just book it. And
yeah. Well, we better act fast, because you see, like, the clock is ticking. The proverbial clock is ticking. I was talking about, like, this year in October I'll be 59, so that means in 2026 I'll be 60 years old. And if I'm going to start jumping into vans and, you know,
come on, Eddie, we'll get you a Tempur-Pedic mattress. It'll be like this.
yeah, I know. Yeah, it'll be a new age, man.
I'm in good shape. You know, it's just like, you know, and I'm not very self-conscious. I mean, I realize I'm one of the oldest people in sometimes the room now, but I'm
but it's all good, man. You're still doing it, and you know what I mean. You know, Cywar is my secondary thing. I got a whole other thing I got going on that, you know, funds the psychological warfare. So you know what I mean. You're the Godfather, man. If we can go on tour, we can hook you up with a hotel every night, and you know what I mean.
So tell me more about Lawman. What's going on with Lawman? What is Lawman?
Lawman, that is just, I'm really influenced just by Carl Lentz and the free man of the land, common law, and knowing law, knowing how to talk to cops, knowing how to represent yourself in court, winning millions in court, and you know, making these public defenders, public servants do what they're supposed to do and enforce the law. And knowing that law and being a total badass about that, basically like a Rambo in court, you know what I mean? But a guy kind of off the street that just that's what Lawman's all about.
Well, I dig it. I like what I'm hearing there. So, like,
yeah, that's great. Well, I'm glad you listened to it, and that's something I really want to do something with. You know, but you know, it's hard to tell. It's
Why don't we just start our own police force? Logan can be the watch commander, and you can just be like sergeant.
No, well, okay. You know, there's this one guy, Steve Emerson in Florida, right? So his aunt is, he's like, I gotta get rid of the house. I can't afford it. She's like, what are you talking about? It's paid off, and he's like, the taxes. He's like, this doesn't make sense. How could she not afford her house and taxes? And he found out that they're not going by the book, and he learned the tax code. And he started going into these courts and suing them. And he made he's made himself millionaire, and he sells his little DVDs for $500, and he's a lawman. I feel like the certain guys they check the box for being a lawman, and he's one of them.
Well, there you go. You see, like,
and that's like an example of the energy that, you know, I'm trying to bring in. It could be any, even like I don't even know what the music could be. It could even be like almost like soundtrack, or like, you know, even like Night Court, or like who knows, soundtrack. Like it could go somewhere big.
Yeah, well, you know, you can do anything you want with the music. Have, you know, a variety of different you know, projects with different sound approaches. So
right, and you know what else I was thinking, like, and sending information to arm the people, like, hey, if you get pulled over by a cop, this is what you do to protect yourself, because I see a lot of things, like people think they're following the law, like listen to the cop. Like this one guy in Montana, cop pulls him over. He's like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm an ex-Marine going to, got my money. He told the cop, I got my money, I'm taking cash to my daughter. She's going to college or whatever, needs a lot of cash, right? The guy seemed like he was telling the truth. He seemed like you can't make this shit up. And then the cop, he's like, that's suspicious, this money's suspicious. He took the money and then, let the guy go, and that was all she wrote. And then the cop probably just took the money home, bought a new boat or some shit. You know what I mean? That's what we're dealing with, that kind of level. And to have something to protect yourself, to know what to say and not what to say, and you know what I mean, what information they're allowed to, or what they're allowed to do with like Code of Federal Regulations on some kind of, some poster or something that comes with these lawman releases. I think that would be really cool.
Yeah, I think actually you should put some of that text on the back of the cover or whatever, and just like, first thing happens if you get involved with a law enforcement situation is you just dummy up.
Yeah.
You give them the ID. You don't say a word.
Yeah, then you just
don't say a word. Just here's my ID. That's it. And then if they say anything else, just because it's really interesting. The first thing if they read you the Miranda rights, they say you have the right to remain silent, and then right after that they start asking you questions.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's just kind of like, there you go. So the best thing to do is just keep quiet.
Yeah, just be quiet
and be polite when you're there. Just don't be really, don't have a nasty attitude. And just here's my ID.
Yeah.
And then if they say, do you know why I stopped you? Whatever at the car, say no. And then they'll tell you, and you say thank you. And then they say, what's next? And that's it. And then like if they take you in, you don't say anything. Because the first thing anyone will tell you is that you should lawyer up. Even if they give you a lawyer, at least you have that on
But
your
see,
side.
that's a lawman though. Those guys are the lawyer, and that's what is great about that. And I was wondering if you had a chance to listen to that one track, "Ignorance of the Law," where it was a sample of Carl Lentz. He's like, "You mean to drive a car like to go left and right, I need like this little license thing? No, I don't need that to drive." And I'm like, whoa, there's guys out there that teach a lot, and you see it. It's a lot more frequent now. These quote unquote sovereign citizens, right? They say they don't belong to any. They don't need your services or whatever. And a lot of those signs on the road are prohibitive, not really law, because for a crime to occur there needs to be a victim. For instance, Dr. John Hammer versus Logan Threedouble, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, like, what do you think of the sovereign citizen approach? As a defense.
It doesn't work. They'll just steamroll you, and that's what And I'm starting to, as I get older, think that this realm we're living in is hell, because it's all backwards, right? You go in the court, it's not law. It's it's this whole admiralty thing, and it's crazy and it's deep, and we could do whole albums on that. And the police, they're supposed to be there to help, but they go around, killing people and fucking dealing drugs. Or you go to the hospital, they're trying to help you, like my grandma. They basically murdered her with surgery in the like it's all seems backwards. So how is that this place live backwards is evil, but hell wouldn't be terrible all the time, right? There's got to be some beauty in it. But I kind of see it as like when I was living in northern Minnesota, in the summertime, it's 100 degrees. You see these deer on the side of the road, covered in mosquitoes and ticks, but people just drive by, they see the movie Bambi, like, oh, how beautiful, but the thing is just fucking living in hell, right? And it's like, it's hellish reality that most people don't see, but it's like they have that Hollywood spell in their mind, like, oh, everything is cute and beautiful out in the woods, but actually, you know what I mean, it's rough to survive, and that's the natural default of this state. That's what you're born into. That's what you go in some of these places, and they're like, let's just tear down every tree and just have it concrete. Especially areas like that where there's vampirist insects crawling all over the place, like ticks, mosquitoes, black flies, and shit like that. You know what I mean? We're lucky. West Coast, we don't got to deal with all that.
You're under attack. But we have another special guest here.
We're going to hit you with another surprise.
All right.
Howdy.
Hails. How's it going?
Come on in.
I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do with my
Just
hand.
introduce yourself.
Yeah.
I'm Serpentine. I do the project Hinterwalder that just released its first debut album earlier this year.
All right, where can the listeners find that?
Unfortunately, on my Bandcamp.
Exactly.
Well, go ahead and check it out, folks. And yeah, I saw a recent clip. I think it was at the Hillbilly House, and man, I really like what I saw. And man, so I guess it's both of you on tour then, if that's correct.
Yes.
Pretty much, yeah.
Well, that's the way to do it. And you know what? And I was thinking why I love just noise and experimental, because you don't need to have a whole freaking band, all this, extravagant. You can just have a really stripped down approach and be able to tour and go do and experience so many things and meet so many people that are like-minded or maybe close-minded, and share a lot of good experiences that way.
Yeah, it's been fun being out here.
Well, where have you guys been going to? Anything really stand out? I know you've been posting a lot of clips on Facebook of some really cool live performances out in the desert. I really appreciate that. Anything you want to share? I mean, it's just amazing how much footage you're getting. That's what I first off would like to say, because I'm kind of new to Facebook. I just joined back. Noah was telling me, dude, check it out. You got to check out Facebook. And now I know where all the noise action's at.
Yeah, Noah's poisoning you. But
No, it's true though. But without that, I was just like, well, I didn't know. I had no awareness of anything. That's why I love the internet. Now I have so much awareness of what's out there, and you know what I mean? And you posting those videos, I think it's important. These guys are out there doing it, and for the whole world to see that. I mean, they had rock and roll in the 70s. These guys were like gods, and the punks were like, well, we can just need a few chords. And then the noise artists, we don't even need that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? We don't even fucking need that, and it's still good and equally as good as something big rock album or something. If you have the eclectic taste and the palette and you're adventurous enough.
Yeah, exactly.
If you move away from the sort of theatrical stage presentation of rock music, and it basically is bastardized rhythm blues or jazz or even classical, depending on what you're listening to, it all goes back to a sort of like formula. And,
yes, but I feel like they just made it noisier. Like they added the pickups, and then then they made the alternative music and the shoegaze, and they really made it noisier. And then the Japanese, I feel like kind of really just even stripped that down to just the noise, right? And and that's what it's all about. And the creativity, like that Santa Ana Noise Fest, man. There was just so much talent and creativity. Every act was different, but they were all playing experimental noise, whatever you want to call it, and it was all like very talented, but way outside the box, and no one else could replicate each other's sets because they were just so intricate.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, going back to film, like putting out the film I've been putting out on Facebook, I mean, I think it's important to document this right now, because I think we live in quite almost a renaissance period for noise again, because I feel like there's just so much good stuff. I mean, we have four artists on the phone right now.
Yeah, this is amazing. I wasn't expecting this, and you know what's funny? Like I haven't done a Warzone in a long time, and the last one was so good. I was like, all right. But this, I mean, thank you all for joining me, and this is really amazing, and
This is the other side of music. I mean, like right now, we're in day 2 of a Handbag Factory, which is a great venue downtown. They're having a 3-day fest, and 4-day, I think. 4-day, possibly, yeah, 4-day fest. And, we're just taking a little break tonight from that. I'm actually going to be playing tomorrow night with another project I have called Cabby Damter. But, Serpentine and Logan came down here to see actually another friend, Ryan, and some other people that we know, including Mark Soden, played this afternoon at the Torrance Art Museum. That Ryan Gahn from Insufficient Despair is putting on these series of shows in the South Bay, which is really refreshing.
Nice.
And it's not a club venue, and it's a standard on the book, county art museum space. So there's a lot less, dicey. If he likes you and he knows you, he'll just basically book you, so you don't have to go crawling around somewhere on Instagram or get some secret handshake to get a show here, because Los Angeles is kind of weird.
Yeah, I'm trying to do Sour LTD Presents, and I've emailed so many people and no one responds, and I'm just amazed at how you guys get that many shows or film that many noise shows. And I mean, Logan seems like he can just, Logan already seems like he's dialed into kind of booking whatever show, but that's just my perception of it, but maybe that's not even correct.
Yeah, that's part of it, but but yeah, I mean, it's really just there's a lot of people that I'd love to introduce you to, and the distance isn't really a problem now that we have these devices here and email and everything. That's not a brand new concept right now. So.
Right, yeah, and I'm trying to make some contacts out here in the Pacific Northwest, so I can kind of bridge the gap and do just kind of tie it all in, especially for tours. And this is my life, man. I just want to keep doing this. I'm never gonna stop until I die, and then whoever wants my gear, just keep using it.
Yeah, I put the good word in to Mark. Well, not really Mark Soden, but I told everybody just to get on that Santa Ana Noise Fest, and we saw that it was greatly successful.
Yeah, and hopefully, we can all get on board again this year. That'd be great. And you know what I mean? I'd really like to, since we're gonna do a Heretic performance in October, I'd like to do a Dr. Hammer performance in December, because I know Mark, his background is kind of more of the on the gentler side, and but the Dr. Hammer is going to be more of experimental, drawing from coil, or even you were talking about rock and roll. I was thinking of maybe not exactly or stealing, but just the essence of a David Bowie or something that into an experimental noise kind of context. You know what I mean?
Yeah, honestly, I think that where you should take. I mean, this is just my opinion. What you should do with Dr. Hammer, you can really do whatever you want. You're the artist that you've already have several different projects. I really think that you should just set up a table with you and do some sort of bizarre lecture with slides, examining something in a very, very maybe authoritarian way. And then just.
But I'm not an authoritarian. I could see that working, but I don't have. You know what I mean?
You've got charisma. If you sat behind a table that was draped in a black cloth and just a microphone and your mask on, the terrorist mask that you wear, and you just have these slides of things that we're interested in, and then you open it up for questions and answers. And with this weird throbbing sound behind it, that's the kind of a dark ambient.
Oh yeah, I could see that. That could be, because that's the next phase. Yeah, is visuals. I'm getting a projector. I'm gonna have a whole mixer. I'm gonna have for the October. That's gonna be more like a total ritual black metal kind of homage to Birdeater and black metal and black noise, but. The Dr. Hammer will be on the total opposite end of the spectrum, but yeah, I could see something like that would be great. And I'm more of a Dr. Magic and the occult, so that was definitely be something. I could have a lot of interesting things on a slideshow and kind of get my point across. Just kind of a lot of I got projects going on behind the scenes, like literature. I would like to eventually have books out on Sour LTD. One of them is The Magic Book by Dr. Hammer, and all about how to just an easy kind of guide to incorporate magic in your life without reading 1,000 books and dealing with a bunch of elitists that think they know it all. You know what I mean? And that's why I don't have the authoritarian attitude. Like, for instance, one book I'm reading right now is Demons of the Flesh by Zena Schreck and Nicholas Schreck. And but it's unfortunate because it's a great book, but just seeing Nicholas Schreck's interviews from back in the day, he's just
they're pretty rough.
New World Order, trust fund kid. Pointing the finger, never worked a day in his life, baby hand. You know what I mean? Like, man, that guy is just. I was kind of betrayed. Xena was with him, even though that's she's so far removed from me. But just that impacts Demons of the Flesh on me. Just I'm reading and hearing her voice narrate the book, and but it's. Man, it's such an excellent sex magic book, and it's also something I would like to have a lecture on because I'm very, it's just anything you're very passionate about. I think that's what could give you the authoritarian edge, if you will.
Well, yeah, I mean, anytime you set up a table with a microphone or a lectern, and you just deliver any sort of sermon or lecture in a very, demanding voice, people are going to be a little bit weeded out. And I think that's the thing to do is just like, instead of just doing noise, you go up there with your table and your ideas and your ideologies, and you just let them have that with like the sort of like black sort of metal drone background, and then just show symbols of like power, like pentagrams and whatever you want.
That'd be really cool. That's kind of even like Jim Jones-esque.
Well, yeah, you got to play with people's, whatever their ideas are. You have to play along with, their
or even kind of use like psychological warfare thing, but. The opposite, like, I don't know if you've heard of Royal William Rife and the Rife machine, but actually, like, having that into, like, a Euro rack and then having someone, like, use the Rife machine while I'm performing, so it's like the person's getting healed while, my whole thing is with that, my bottom line with Dr. Hanner project is I want it to be more of like a healing type thing at the end of the day, not as harsh, and you know what I mean. So it's like an antidote to the poison, and that's why it's going to be like intellectual too, while being smart and not too book driven, just kind of a common sense approach.
Yeah, I mean, if you want some, you can like take inspiration or at least reference points. Robert Anton Wilson has a lot of great lectures that are kind of funny, and then if you can kind of cross-section that with like maybe what Hunter Thompson was doing, and then a little bit of William de Grimston from the Process Church, and just basically hit people with so much screwballs and curveballs, they don't know really where to stand on it.
Just make it disorienting. Yeah.
Right. There's only two ways that can go nowadays. Either you accidentally start a cold or you get immediately canceled. There's no between. That's it. Yeah. Both are what's up. Both are cool.
Something that's been hitting me for a while. It's like we have Instagram and all this, but why isn't there like an Instagram specific for noise and power electronics? Like, why don't we have more outlets like that? Like, you know what I mean? It's just we have these main ones I just feel are just so polluted with the mainstream sewage, I call it, of just garbage,
We got to bring back the fucking forums.
Reddit.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
No, I'm fucking ready.
Oh, yeah,
I know,
mean,
man. Nuclear War Now, that was one of my favorite ones, even though it wasn't really much for power electronics. I know Special Interest is a good one, but I mean, I feel like there needs to be something outside of that, something like more exciting and more interactive, and just something also kind of different, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, going back to that Renaissance period I was talking
Yeah,
about.
that's exactly what it
definitely,
is. I'm glad you said that, because I feel the same way, but I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good. Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely think there's like a breeding ground, so to speak, of like somebody should do that because it would probably pop off right now.
Yeah, you're right. You know, and I feel like, okay, that's the psychic power. The more we keep seeing that, the more we keep saying that, the pressure builds up, and then something's going to happen, and it's going to be spectacular.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, you know, like I said, this is what we're doing here, the forum with the three of us here. This is, you know, the other side of the music is what the artists are really thinking, because, you know, you can fill a room with noise, but then afterwards, like, if you want to put it in some sort of context to talk about it, and
right.
if you can't talk about it, the artist can articulate new or different information, new and different aspects to the art that might have been lost in the sounds themselves. So you get to know a little bit more about the process of creating the music, and also the context and meaning, the intent. And like that's another thing is what's the intention. If you're just doing something for fun, that's great. I mean, I don't mind any of that. I like entertainment. I like to be entertained. That's another thing. Am I an entertainer? I sit there and I sometimes think, am I an entertainer? Or am I like, you know, like Jerry Lewis or something? Am I, you know, making people amused about, you know, my antics, whatever I'm doing on stage or making this music or whatever.
I think you do. I think you do have a sense of that, especially when I first saw you. You know, it was your Walmart performance is very absurd, but that's also why I love it so much. And there's so much behind it, and it's such a material idea. You even have the vest, and it's all like when you're there, you're not in the Walmart, the regular corporate Walmart. You're in your Walmart, and you know everything's on clearance, and it's such a great idea, man. And you know that's another reason I never really got too much into the harsh noise, is because you know a lot of it is just like some serial killer thing or whatever, and it's all kind of redundant. But the Walmart is really it just stands on its own, you know.
Well, let's talk with Serpentine, because she has some ideas about her project. Like, it's really interesting how you have this sort of, it means redneck, and it also...
It means hillbilly in German.
Hillbilly in German. Okay, now...
Okay, can you can you pronounce it again, please?
I don't know if I'm even pronouncing it right. But
that's okay. That makes it even better. It's however you pronounce it.
Yeah, but it's Hinterwalder.
Hinterwalder. Okay.
Yeah, and so I have a lot of German roots in my bloodline, and then
me too.
My family's just hillbilly redneck all in their own that I was raised up in. So it came together for a great name for me, and with that I've been leaning heavy into, you know, my redneck roots. So my first performance, I had to have my cowboy hat, had to have my cowboy boots, and I plan on going full on out with the antics, cowboy, redneck, like, as I go along.
Well, that's awesome. I really like that, and it's just like owning it, you know, like, and I think that's also, just pride is very important, and, you know, that's what I'm really learning, or not learning, but just taking it back in retrospect and seeing how Christianity in these doctrines that try to enslave the world, they try to promote shame, and I think we got to do the opposite of that, be proud, and you know, and that is
know your roots.
Exactly. Yeah, it's very important. You know, you can't forget about your roots, and it's all, you know. I have so much serendipity with Germany. My grandma's from Germany, and like a lot of things I'll see, and it's like that is very like a German characteristic. And I'm like, damn, that is so me. Like, and it's a lot of it. And I don't just make it up or identify it with just for no reason. And it's very interesting. It's all I think all that is in our DNA. It's with us, and we're all keep evolving and dying as people. But I don't think an evolution sense though is like you're created as you are though. Once you die, I think you're just kind of born back into like kind of the same genetics as when you lived.
I think a lot of it as most of the time, I think people are reincarnating and learning new lessons in life that they need to learn.
Right. But it's funny, I heard an interesting thing. We're kind of jumping on a tangent, but this David Icke take on it, and his is like, a lot of the people, us Americans, we have it so good, and I constantly reminding myself, and even though times might be tough, I'm traveling around living in hotel rooms, but still, it's like I have running water and a bed and food, and a lot of the people, most people in the world are suffering, and the lesson seems to always come back to suffering, and perhaps that is all just part of the trap to keep us here, and these archons to keep feeding off of our suffering. And if we were all happy and no one was suffering, the archons would die, so therefore they wouldn't have anything to feed on.
Yeah.
And here's the thing too. I mean, I'm in a discussion with someone last night who's really interesting fellow, Luke, and we were talking. I just basically see all these things that we see here in all the conflicts in the world, in Ukraine and Gaza, and other places too, because there's still a lot of civil wars in Africa and other places.
Yeah, they all seem completely unnecessary, and they all funnel in millions and billions of dollars, if not trillions, and it's mind-boggling. How can we be in a world like that if there isn't something benefiting or feeding off of this fucking energy? And and
at the same time, the old experts, or the people that are trained, are studying all this stuff. And the thing is that we have a history, and the history is now. And if you look at it, it'll be analyzed for the next 10, 20, 50, 100 years.
And a lot of shit's happening at once.
But it's actually happening very quickly.
Yeah, and it seems like time's going by faster, too.
It does that. And that's another thing, the idea that these wars, the Ukraine conflict right now is close to 3 years now. It's getting into the third year. And it doesn't seem like that to us, but I mean, like, they've been fighting this thing for 3 years, and then whatever's going on in the Middle East has been going on and off for many, many decades. So this is nothing new, but the aggression, the force now of what's happening in Gaza is it's never been seen. The destruction and just what's going on. So they've been given the Israeli IDF and the Israeli army been pretty much given green light to do whatever. There's no restrictions, no NATO, no United Nations or human rights or anything coming in to step in and say, you really just can't kill people on wholesale just to get a few thousand a month. Yeah.
Right, and it's crazy, but to me, I think it all goes back to dark arts, occult, and it's really human sacrifice. Specifically child, I think 40% of the Palestinian population are under the age of 12. And Moloch is, I know, one of the big gods in that region, and that one, if you look back in occult history, is, they honor him with child sacrifice, and it's just, and also I think just that area too, I think, I have this new book, Geomancy, and I think the Earth has its own energy and it's alive, and I think some areas are just harsher than others, right? Like we talked, Logan and I, we talked about Hemet, and there's something about that area that's just a really bad energy or a negative energy, and I've seen a lot of crazy violent things there, or some places are completely peaceful, nothing violent will ever happen there. Like there's a phenomenon, and I think the ones calling the shots know these things, and they do these things at specific events, equinoxes, numerology. There's a 77 club, 33 degrees Freemasonry. There's so much to it. You could spend your whole life studying and still scratch the surface.
The Hemet thing. Did we talk about in our episode? Did we talk about the trail near my house that?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we talked about that. There was a trail, right? Native trail. It has like a sun wheel or something carved on the stone. Or...
Oh, these are two separate places. So that's Maystone and Hemet, and then there's one over in where is this? Wildomore or Marietta that we've all dubbed Skinwalker Trail. And I was going to say we had actually recently taken Steph from Prolapse Catholic there, and we pulled up what was the moon we just had? Fuck.
The blood moon? No,
the pink moon?
Yeah, the pink moon.
We had the pink moon, and we didn't realize that was occurring that night. We kind of looked up in the sky as we were taking them, and I kind of nudged Serpentine, was like, should we keep going? And she was like, well, fuck it, we're already in the car, might as well. So we took them, and we didn't tell him where we were going, because I like to bring people there and not really influence their judgment on the area.
Right.
I did the same thing at Serpentine when I first brought her there. And immediately upon pulling up to this area, Seth was immediately, like, nauseous, like, pale in the face, nauseous. He's like, where are we? And I kind of explained. He's like, yeah. And fucking, we pulled up to the trail. We walked up. We couldn't have walked more than 100 yards. And immediately they both saw the same light in the same area of the tree. And I actually saw a figure. So I'll let Serpentine kind of go into her perspective.
Yeah, so as he's like seeing this figure, I get a whole vibe where it's just like, we should head out. And I tell them both, like, we got to get out of here. And so we, like, turn around to start leaving. You know, Logan's not telling us that he saw this figure.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to scare him necessarily.
Yeah, but as soon as we turn around, I get, like, a deep, growling, like, whisper in my ear right behind us. That's definitely not a sound that Logan or Seth could have made.
Right.
And I just book it out of there. I
we
take
both
off
saw her
running.
We're like, and I mean, she doesn't usually run from things, so I kind of took off running too, because I mean, I usually trust her judgment about things.
Yeah. So what do you?
After all that happened too, we were driving Seth home, and the moon changed to the normal white color after that pink moon, and it was changing position in the sky.
Actually,
like,
I forgot about that. Yeah. That happened. Yeah.
Like, it was to the right of the car as we were driving. We didn't make any turns, mind you. And I look up and I'm like, no, wait, isn't that the moon right there? And it's like the whole left side of the car that the moon completely, like, 30 degrees moved in the sky. We all saw that. Like,
yeah, all three of us were like, what the fuck is that?
All of us sober.
Yeah, we were all sober. No, not one of us drank a beer or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's the interesting thing about it is, I've had experiences similar, some very profound paranormal experiences, but they were always in times of my life where I was sober. Not only that, kind of like going through times like healing and like purity, or consciousness, and I just see something totally off the wall, off kilter paranormal shit, and it's just mind blowing, and it's like makes you wonder, like, what is out there, and I think it's only limited by our imaginations. What is really out there, especially in the woods at night, like some of
And
these.
are we suppressing it with alcohol and drugs when we're not seeing it?
Right, and no, but yeah, that's another take on it that I think is interesting. What about drugs like DMT? And I think a lot of it is we have a filter. Like we can only see a very narrow band of the light spectrum, and I feel like those substances give us the ability to turn that filter off momentarily to see everything around us. And I think we're constantly in this stew of paranormal activity, but it's just filtered out just for our own sanity.
Yeah, we were just somebody was just talking about microdosing.
Yeah, I was a few years back. I had something called aphantasia, which is the inability to see images in your mind. Some people go as far as not being able to even hear a voice in their mind.
Oh wow!
And something had told me that I need to try DMT to see what I can do for my brain and heal that part of it.
Yeah.
So I was microdosing DMT, and through that I was able to train my brain to see images better than a lot of people I know. I can see full images of people I know's faces. I can hear their voices clearly. Like I can imagine all of that now through the treatment of DMT.
Yeah, DMT is very interesting, and also, the frequency and the range of use seems to be very recent. I don't, in my earlier years, I don't remember too many people doing DMT or even knowing about it.
Yeah, I think it has always been and needs to continue to be a very sacred drug where you need to respect it for what it is and not use it as a party drug. You have to.
Right. Yeah, that's a lot of these substances. Once you abuse it, yeah. But also I think situations like I've experienced, they were terrifying and almost like living in like a Hellraiser type movie. Actually very transformative and helped me overcome a lot of fear and actually when you survive something like that, it makes just regular shit not seem that bad,
Yeah.
But I'm very glad to be joined by you guys, and we were talking about some of the new releases. We have a couple of big festivals coming up, and anyone hear anything about advertisements for the Santa Ana Noise Fest yet, or is that normally kind of at the last minute?
I don't know. They're basically on social media, Facebook. The routine goes is that Mark will make an announcement that if you'd like to play, query up it. So basically send him a sample of your music, a video, a Bandcamp, something, and he'll see it, and then basically from there, the first 10, 20 participants who come in with something to show, submission. So basically, we get a better chance to get on to the night. It's only a one night. It's a fest, but it's an all-day fest. The handbag tonight is a 4-day. Yeah, I understand it. So that's
a 4-day, huh?
Yeah. So there's over, I think, 20 artists collectively.
Any big standout one, or just any ones in general that you'd like to share?
Frank Sturgeon for sure. There was a Japanese artist. I don't know her name, but she just really knocked it out of the park. It was really interesting because she was just basically very quiet all night. I don't know what here she is.
What was the kind of format of her set?
It was pedal based, and then she had a very small 2-module Euro rack system going.
Oh, that's cool.
Karumi
Kadoya?
Kadoya. Yeah, Karumi Kadoya. And
Does she
very
have a
unassuming
band
person,
camp or anything?
Like
Or?
doesn't look edgy, or wearing like khaki pants. And
Very modest.
Yeah, you wouldn't know that this person, and then it's completely let loose. And
It was one of the better performances I've ever seen.
Yeah, and there was a contrast because she's so unassuming. There was a lot of, how can we say it, performance art that had a lot of nudity.
Soil doilies. There was nothing that I can't remember, but
So she was just kind of smack between two or three kind of performance-based noise acts, and just by using her electronics, she just really just knocked it out of the park.
Really?
She didn't need antics to be interesting.
No.
She just
it was
was
great.
epic.
Yeah.
So was it? I mean, as far as like the frequency, tonality, was it like on the harsher side of things, or are we talking?
absolutely.
Okay.
It was hard, but it had some of the sounds were, they were the typical just flash boom. It was basically, there were these tones that sounded almost like rhythmic and mechanical. And I really like when the pedals do something that sounds mechanical like.
I think a lot of the rhythmic stuff was coming from the Euro rack module, which is very unhealthy for my gear. If it is Euro, I'm going to get back a Euro rack. It's going to kill me.
Yeah. Did you say originally you kind of that was kind of your bread and butter when you first got involved, right?
Toward the mid portion of my career, I guess you call it a career. I was telling Eddie this earlier because we saw an artist used what I think almost were like homemade modular units. When I was doing junkyard burials, that was kind of what I was doing, was kind of making it hard to do nowadays.
Because you don't have the gear anymore.
Yeah, no, I just only have pedals and circuit bed boys.
Well, that's cool. I mean, there's so many ways you can go about it, and it's all, limited by your imagination. I mean, I eventually like to do some kind of Eurorack thing, but I mean, I just get kind of, carried away sometimes. So I'm just trying to chill out on buying the noise gear and trying to get more of the visuals.
Yeah, I was like, we just invested so much money in shit that we didn't. Now we have so much gear. So I totally understand, and we ended up with a lot of things for free. So
I did need the song guide.
I needed the data corruptor. I understand. Yeah. You were necessary.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? It can really help, though. In addition of some new gear can, really add some passion back into it, or creativity. And, I've gotten some new cool pedals, and it's funny. I've ordered them on Amazon. Some of these are like the lower end, but, if I can buy like $30 pedal versus a $200 pedal, like, I could get four.
Like the knockoff of the Gonculator versus the Gonculator.
Yeah, I get it. It doesn't matter.
Well, I got this new one, a Ghost Rain.
The Doyo one?
No, this one is. It doesn't say it on an actual case, but it's like Saline or. Oh, here it is.
K-Line.
K-Line, yeah, K-Line, man. And this one, I'm really enjoying the delays lately because, I mean, you can take a clean signal and eventually with the feedback loops, it'll eventually generate its own kind of distortion and noise signals.
Yeah, it starts oscillating. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. So, I have that one and this Joyo Aquarius. I really do like these Joyos, even though these are like, Amazon kind of gray pedals. I don't care. They have these awesome LEDs on them, and it just it can just add so much to just even contact mic or synthesizer samples, vocal effects, whatever. I mean, you can't go wrong.
If it works, it works, and that's another thing. It's like if there are like these, there's always a snob in the room, like, oh, I'm a record snob, exactly. And then there's gear snobs. Oh, what's the one everyone hates? Bernheim? Bernher? Bernheimer?
Oh, Behringer.
Behringer. Okay.
Behringer, yeah.
Those are my favorite.
Yeah, I love. Yeah, that's. I got.
My friend Henry Mallon was telling me about there's this company from China or something. You can get these pedals for $10. They're made of plastic, basically.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Ready to roll, and I think that if this was available commercially for people, they would have a lot more people. It would be way more visible in a popular audience, in the general population. So it's not just the same noise artist. Hundreds
right.
of people,
yeah, and that's
having access to cheaper, affordable, commodity like pedals and gear and everything. And I think that's where I'd really like to see this going. But then again, if your neighbor starts doing noise, are you going to feel like
you're gonna feel like it's not the thing anymore?
Right,
Yeah,
it's not the
exactly.
thing anymore. Then you have to just go get a pogo stick.
You know the story with Dan Electra, right?
No.
They used to sell the pedals in guitar centers, and they became so popular because they were so cheap that they ended up having to stop selling them because they were running like Bosch and bigger companies out of business. And
What's the problem with that?
Exactly. What's the problem with that? It became they're my favorite.
Commission for the people that work in
Boss
guitar
thing,
centers too.
Yeah, because there's millions of dollars involved with this, and all of this, and
And if they're being knocked off by a $30 company or
like I used to love DODs too. Like I thought the DOD pedals were really good, and they were cheap. And, there's a lot of different pedals, but I mean, like some of them really suck. They just totally suck. I mean, you have to get like some custom-made stuff.
Oh yeah. There's some. Yeah, don't get me wrong. There's some on Amazon. I'm not saying just get annual pedals. Some of them are shit, but I'm saying I found ones that are actually good, and that's cool because there's a sea of shit out there for sure. Don't waste your money if you're not really if it's hard to come by. Even build your own. Even better. You can't go wrong if you.
Yeah.
Got the time for that.
Not at that level, the best thing to do is I always say, go to pawn shops, buy them cheap, buy them for friends.
the marketplace.
Yeah.
Go to the sketchy spot.
Drive to Vegas from Southern California to buy a Bigtronic mothership.
Go to Echo Park to pick up a Behringer pedal and almost get shot. It's worth it.
Yeah, that's gangsta, dude.
Drive to Phoenix for the drone spin.
Yeah, it's worth it.
Well, that's another good point. I mean, I found some pretty cool shit at pawn shops. I found death metal pedals. You'd be surprised what you find, and but also that's why I like companies like Behringer. I got the Odyssey and the Deep Mind and the MS1. And man, those are all badass synthesizers. I would have ended up paying like thousands and thousands of dollars for the originals, but
absolutely.
Deep Mind, that's $1,000, and I have to take on the profit, and that is one of my favorite synths. And too bad it's in storage, but it's gonna be taken out soon, and I'll be giving it my love again.
And that's what's up.
Where's that storage unit at?
Yeah.
That's it's real safe. It's down in Compton, California. I'll give you the address. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh man.
No, but
how's Noah? Let me ask you. Are you in touch with Noah often?
Yeah, he's a busy guy. He's got a lot going on, and I think he said he was gonna play a show at the Carlsbad printing factory, and he said he had to drop off the bill. A lot going on with good old Noah. He's a very intelligent guy. It seems like he's in a rigorous educational program.
I don't get too deep in it, but there's some weird controversy with that Carlsbad show. I don't know.
Oh, I didn't hear anything about it.
I can't confirm or deny what's going on with that, but everything was set up. Project Core Specs was in it.
Okay.
Ola Paggio was in it. A few others, and then the whole thing just sort of stopped. And I heard a few things. I don't want to be the guy at the rumor mill here, the grist of the rumor mill, but basically, I'm I'm not going to name names, but someone who is booking shows in the Southern California area, he said that there was one of the reasons why the show didn't work is because one of the artists, happened to be a pedo or something like that. And
Nicole 12?
No, I was just shaking my head because I was listening.
No, because I heard it from an unreliable source, and I'm like, okay, so there's a pedo on the, there's a book, one of the actors have been accused by someone else or something. So after a while, the whole show went under. I'm sure there's other reasons why the show really was postponed or canceled.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's this reason, and it's really funny just how these stories.
Yeah, they just scapegoat something, and they're like,
they just arrive at my ears and eyes, and I'm like, I don't have time. It's just hard to believe. This is hard to believe, but who knows?
Yeah, it's it's just a show, it's but
yeah.
Hey, I'm willing to play any show, even if Nicole 12 is playing. It's no big deal. I don't know if anyone get that reference, but
yeah, you mentioned something about playing in Eureka. I'm gonna have to work on the logistics of that.
Because, that's what I was thinking.
Logan, the airport in Eureka. I don't know how to.
We got the van road trip.
Road trip. Yeah, orthopedic mattress for Eddie. Yeah.
We'll figure it out though. Like I'm moving over there back, and I think it'd be great because I think Sterile Garden might be interested. He's in the Basement Tapes, right? And there's a couple good venues, and I don't know. I think it would be really cool to have a good noise experimental show in Eureka. It's a very venue friendly place.
There's someone else in Eureka called the Flea Choir Master. You know that?
No. I haven't been to too many shows there. It's very, there's a lot of clubs, but it's very small, and a lot of the, usual suspects. But that's why I'd like to bring some SoCal talent up and have a really cool noise show there, or when I get a van, you just do a tour and go play with good old Bobby and Cut in Oakland or something too on the way down or whatever.
For sure.
That's close enough to Oregon that we could almost maybe get my friend Joey from Flesh Vomit.
Yeah, that would be cool. And also, Noah's telling me Terror Cell Unit is going to be playing soon in Eureka. So
I will be playing with them very soon in Idaho for Idaho Noise Fest.
Oh, wow. There's so much shit going on. I'm glad, we need to do this more often and try to cover and get it out there as best as possible, because a lot of this shit's not even on special interest. I'll try to post as much as I can. So whereabouts in Idaho is this
I believe it is in Boise. I do not have a venue yet.
Okay.
But you should hook up with Logan, and he'll give you a little more details if there's still slots open. And you're in that area, you're in the Pacific Northwest, I would say make the run to Idaho and try to get
when would that be again?
Huh?
When would the date on that one be again?
It is July 15th through 17th, I believe.
Yeah, that could totally be possible. Yeah, that would be great. Idaho is it's a cool state, and it's good to know that there's people doing noise there.
Yeah, you should only. Once again, just keep in touch with Logan. I think he'll give you the info on that. The download, was it the 411? Yeah, the 411. Yeah, the 411 on this.
411, man.
At that point, maybe you can get on there with Heretic, and it would be worth it for you to just drive up from wherever you're staying at in the Pacific Northwest.
Hell yeah,
and get that done.
Yeah, and also the Eureka thing, man. We can get Airbnb or whatever, or they have cheap flights up. I can even help you out on that, Eddie, to get Walmart in Eureka. So I want to get something going this summer because we got.
We all set up here. Just record.
We could do it.
Yeah, generators too.
Hopefully we can get Seth to get a day off from the cum factory, and he can come out and we can have our last guys go there. Fucking mopping up cum all day at the cum factory.
Or yeah, we can go to the Eureka Walmart with Eddie.
Yeah. They're always hiring at the Comp Factory and Walmart. It's just like,
Yeah, those are the biggest employers.
Your resume.
Those are the biggest and best employers of North America. And, I mean, everyone knows it, but just. But yeah.
All right, man. I think we're gonna wrap it up soon.
Okay, well that sounds good, and yeah, well thank you. Thanks for joining me, and man, it's been a great evening. And anything you want to cover before we close out?
Big show at the Hillbilly House, Walmart, Hinterwalder, me, fucking Seth if he stops working at the Cum Factory, Insufficient Despair, Expressionist, Too Many People, My House, new album coming out, Eddie, Plug Shit. Oh, me? Yeah. What do I got going on? Gee whiz, I got a new a bonus dark tape on Deathbed, 2 years in the making.
Oh, awesome.
Coming out. I have a split with Last Action that came out on his own Belgian label.
Oh, great news, man.
Split. I'm going to give that to you. Last Action is really great. And then what else we got? I'm also honored to be on the White Centipede Noise, the double, triple. I'm holding these in my hand. Compilation right now. It's 3 discs. I'm giving that. I love them. And here's something else. This is Patrick Clark. Oh no! I lost all my bullshit market skills. Well, I have some more. God, I have so much stuff in my hand. Yeah, and I'm also going to be doing. I'm actually going to be doing at the San Diego Shake Cafe Noise Fest a collaboration with John McFay of Go Is Death. We're doing a first time ever, maybe last time ever, Dial a Prayer set. And
nice.
That's going to be really interesting because I'm trying to figure out technically how I could actually, we're going to make banners, signs that have our actual phone numbers, and we want people to call from the audience, call us because we're going to be sitting at a table. And we really want we want the audience to interact with us and call us on our cell phones.
That's
and we'll
awesome.
put those through the mixers so that you can actually hear people's voices. Saying,
I'm all about that. Yeah, I'll be calling in for sure.
We really want to do like a sort of mock call-in show.
That's so cool.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out how to do. It's really not so hard if you just get a jack to the phone.
Yeah.
And you can go into a 1/4 inch directly into the mixer. The voices will come out on the PA system, and then we'll just play some weird music underneath it. That's Dial a Prayer.
That's great, man. I mean, you could have a operator there standing by. I mean, get Seth
right.
a job. Get Seth a job doing.
Standing by,
What's the matter, Seth? You too good for the Cum Factory?
A swig of wine.
Yeah, that's right. A swig of wine. Yeah, free jizz crackers. Yeah, jizz crackers. Yeah, those percent. Right.
Hell yeah.
Because it's that time of the season, and the Pope is dead, so I don't know. They're going to have a... Yeah, honestly, Pro-Life's Catholic probably should have ended when the Pope died. We talked about it. We were on a spooky trail.
They're not going to get a new one?
Yeah, that video will come out soon, but...
There's no new Pope, that's it? They're just...
I don't know. They haven't said anything. All about the bonus dark, too, where you get this, like, boy, oh boy, you get some people together, and, I shouldn't make criticism, but they got 4 people together, and they're like, okay, we recorded an abundance of material, and the whole idea was to have the next record ready while the new record is out. The next record's already in the can. It became a little bit of a cluster situation where no one knew what the other person was doing, but eventually we did get the second tape out on Deathbed, which was great. I'm really happy that Alex Ford was gracious enough to have us again.
That's awesome, man. That's a great label.
One of the few artists that have 2 releases on that label. He usually does the oneer, and that's it. But we actually got the second one out too. So I'm really grateful. It actually is it's an unofficial soundtrack to a film you could see on YouTube called A Certain Kind of Death, which is basically a documentary about LA mortuary and what they do with unclaimed
bodies. They basically cremate them, and then they bury them in a potter's field. It's really it's a very depressing documentary. There's not very much dialogue. It's all very just imagery, and they follow around LA coroner, and they go to apartments where, unfortunately people have died, and there's no one to claim them. There's no family. There's no next of kin. They have no relatives. They have no spouse. And they just take the bodies and put them in the morgue, and it's piled up. They do a little bit of a autopsy. They try to figure out the cause of death, and then they tag them. And when they have enough of them, they put them in this white van and bring them over to an incinerator, and they incinerate them, and they take the ashes and they put them into these little metal boxes, and they fill a white van up with these metal boxes, send them over to some place in Los Angeles, and they just bury the ashes and put a tag, like an ID tag, like 3445, and that's it. And so it gives the whole background on what happened to that. So I decided that was actually suitable for the bonus dark as a theme for the last tape.
Yeah, for sure, man. That sounds, and yeah, coming from that label, I bet it's like high caliber, very well done.
Yeah, he always does a great job. I like Alex.
Yeah, that Shadow Killer comp, I submitted a track, didn't get on there, but still, man, that comp is great. That latest Controlled Death and Black Mountain Transmitter, so much good shit on there. The Controlled Bleeding tapes on there, and so much good stuff. So, but anyhow, Eddie, I don't want to keep you too long. Thank you so much for joining me, and we got the October festival. You got the December one. We've got to get something for this summer where I can jump on board and have a show with you guys.
Yeah, like I said, keep in touch with Logan about that show in Idaho. Maybe you can get, you can get on that bill and do a set. And then, I'm pretty. I like the idea of going on to Eureka. I've never been there before, and I mean, if we can do like a sort of van trip, we can all travel together and we'll figure out the logistics of that. We can get a hotel, motel, Airbnb.
Yeah.